Hello everyone, Tactically here. Recently I played in another game in the League of Extraordinary Degenerates where I was playing as the Empire versus Strat Games Greenskins, and in this matchup I usually find it quite hard for the Empire to protect their missile backline against the Green Tide's mobility, so I was thinking, if I can't protect my missiles, perhaps I can just pick some missiles that doesn't need protection, and hence here we have 4 units of Free Company Militia forming our main missile forces. They will be supporting a ton of state troops, pretty much the man-tied approach. A front line of swordsmen, very elite, all of them are fully upgraded, and one of them the Sigma Sun's unbreakable swordsmen. They are backed up by a second line of anti-large infantry, spearmen, and halberdiers. And further back, 1 unit of spearmen guarding the rear, plus 2 more Empire Knights providing a bit of mass and speed. In the skies, we have Boris Todbringer leading the army, supported by a single Amethyst Wizard on foot, wielding not only the standard Spirit Leech and Fate of Buna, but also Doom and Darkness for that leadership debuff against the Greenskins, who generally have low leadership already. Now for the Greenskins, a front line of goblins backed up by 3 stone trolls, and then a few more missile units, 2 orc arrow boys, and the Hammer of Gork for that long range anti-infantry artillery. The flanks are protected by a bunch of Forest Goblin Spider Riders and 4 more units of Goblin Wolf Rider Archers. A ton of mobility, definitely can poke around the battlefield and maybe sneak into my backline and shut down my missile units. The lord of this army is Azak the Slaughter on his Wyvern, providing some Spirit Leech and Fate of Buna support. That's it for the army builds. Now let's get the battle going. Despite having the power of technology and gunpowder on their side, the Empire actually do not have the range advantage in this fight, all because of the Hammer of Gork, able to open fire from afar, hammering the Empire lines with a first shot advantage there. The first one to be shot at are the swordsmen over here, though the first couple projectiles seems to be missing their mark. Now finally, something will land into their fray and doing some pretty noticeable damage. On the flank there, the Goblin Wolf Rider Archers are moving in, but it seems that they're counterfired by the Free Company Militia. One great thing about the Free Company Militia is that they do have fire while moving, so they can take aim while they are still marching forward. This gives them a little bit of a quick draw advantage, allowing them to fire before those Wolf Rider Archers are able to pull away. Now the Wolf Rider Archers are moving in, trying to do some more poke damage, but they are once again a little too close to the Free Company Militia. Free Company Militia firing another volley, taking a few more models off from that Goblin skirmishing unit. Very good work done in this early of a game. On the other side, the Goblin Wolf Rider Archers are taking a more cautious approach, slowly maneuvering to the rear of the formation, while the Free Company Militia are being hammered a bit by the Hammer of Gork, taking a little bit of the accuracy debuff, and was not able to do too much damage to the Goblin Wolf Rider Archers. The rest of the Empire front line are moving forward, Boris gunning towards the Greenskin formation as well, as they do not want to stand around for too long with the Hammer of Gork continuously doing damage to the state troops formations. Now, Boris will be taking some fire from the Greenskin Archers, but that is not exactly the greatest issue for him. He does have decent armor, missile resistance, and regeneration, so he'll be maneuvering a little bit, dodging some shots, and will be going after Azak the Slaughter. On the ground, their Empire Knights taking a Fate of Buna to the face, getting their health rapidly drained away by the spell. They'll be charging into the Forest Goblin Spider Riders, doing some pretty nice impact damage before they go down to the spell. These swordsmen were charged by some Forest Goblin Spider Riders, taking some impact damage, but with their solid stats with 3 gold chevrons, they're fighting back just fine. Though the rest of the swordsmen getting slammed by a bunch of stone trolls, they're taking quite a bit of damage in the first few seconds of impact. Good news is that I do have the advantage on the right flank, as my Empire Knights and Spears should be able to push back the Spider Riders, while the swordsmen are fighting goblins who do not have support of the stone trolls. Stone trolls being a rather expensive monstrous infantry, you cannot bring too many of them at once, and they cannot be everywhere on the battlefield. The Wolf Rider Archers are now charging into the Free Company Militia backline, but with the Overwatch fire from other Free Company Militia and Spearmen, plus the Free Company Militia themselves fighting back, They're taking a lot of damage in this few seconds of engagement and are being forced into retreat. On the left flank there, unfortunately, Boris Todbringer is suffering massively in the middle of multiple Greenskin missile units taking a lot of crossfire right now, and with the Spirit Leech draining away his health and Arzak fighting back, well, Boris is actually routed from the fight, and because of enemies in front of him, he decided to make a U-turn. Very unfortunate for me because that brings Boris straight into Arzak, who is now able to push Boris off the battlefield by driving him towards the white line on the other side of the battlefield, and I can do nothing about it. At least finally I have the Swordsmen and Empire Knights breaking through the Greenskins on this flank, and there really isn't any Greenskin units to stop them anymore. The Swordsmen are free to roam around the backline. They're going after the Stone Trolls for some reason, but they should be able to switch over to the Orc Era Boys soon. The Empire Knights as well took them some time, but eventually plowed through the Forest Goblin Spider Riders and are now moving on to the Hammer of Gork. It has been a nuisance since the beginning of the battle, not only doing damage but also using that blinded debuff to reduce the stats of my units. For example, these Free Company militia here being hammered by the Greenskin artillery and chased off by the goblins. The rest of my front line is pretty much also in shambles, with most of my swordsmen being broken off by the Stone Troll smashing. Actually, there's still one unit of swordsmen on the left flank standing their ground, beating back the Spider Riders and cutting down a ton of goblins. Unfortunately, they are flanked by Stone Trolls and are taking quite a bit of damage from the charge impact. Now, the Free Company militia, some of them are pushing forward and are now aiming down the Orc Air Boys, while over here on this side, Stone Trolls breaking through my front line was able to rout off some Free Company militia. There's another Free Company militia at the back doing some chip damage against their armored and missile resistant bodies, while the Goblins and Stone Trolls together will be smashing these Free Company militia in melee. The Halberdiers are rushing back to save them, but they are only an infantry and they do not exactly have the greatest speed to reinforce other fights like the cavalry units. While the Greenskins are working on my backline, I'm also pushing into theirs. The Greenskins missiles are completely silenced for now as the Stone Trolls are desperately trying to beat back the Empire melee forces. Empire Knights are being pushed off, but still there is the Spears holding their ground using their anti-large damage to chip away the health of the Stone Trolls. There are simply too many state troops around the vicinity. More spears are threatening the Orc Era Boys. Swordsmen, seeing that the backline is under control, will go back to keep pushing the Orc Era Boys. Arzak has returned from chasing off Boris Todbringer, getting a little too close to the Amethyst Wizard taking a Spirit Leech. This is getting very dangerous for Arzak because Arzak does not have the healing to counteract this kind of direct damage. His only hope is to snipe out the Amethyst Wizard. He managed to rout the Empire Caster off, but the problem is that he cannot continue this pursuit with the swordsmen closing in. His leadership is so low, the swordsmen were able to rout him off just by being there. Now over here, there are some Wolf Rider archers trying to silence the militia, but they simply cannot overcome the melee stats of this Empire unit, leaving them exposed to a rear charge from some regrouped Empire Knights. Now the Free Company militia are able to turn around and start firing at the Stone Trolls, who still have quite a bit of HP left, almost full health, and are slamming into the swordsmen, doing some nice impact damage, but the swordsmen will hold on as they do have that gold chevron and extra leadership. Now in the skies, Arzak the Slaughterer is still flying around, but this is getting quite dangerous for him as my Amethyst Wizard is getting his leadership back and eventually will be returning to the fight with nothing to chase him off for now. The Free Company militia are turning around to fire at the routing Forest Goblin Spider Riders just to keep them routing off for a little longer and buying more time for the Amethyst Wizard to recover. Arzak the Slaughterer dropping into some terrified spear and was able to push them off, but the Amethyst Wizard has returned, recovering his leadership and dropping an overcast version of Spirit Leech onto Arzak. Arzak's health is quickly approaching zero, especially with another volley from the Free Company militia sniping the Greenskin Lord out from the sky. This is gonna be a massive problem for the Greenskins as their leadership is getting a heavy hit. These Stone Trolls here, for example, they're still relatively healthy, but their leadership is quickly dipping. Their leadership now down to minus 53 and actually going into shattering territory. A massive loss for the Greenskins as this Stone Troll unit still has 13 unit models and a bunch of healing left. If it was allowed to heal, it could have been the backbone of Greenskins in this late game. But alas, that is the end for this Stone Troll unit, and on the other side, these Stone Trolls here, down to -1 leadership, being attacked in the rear by some pistol fire. The Stone Trolls were just enough to be routed by the Doom and Darkness, a very handy spell in a late game scenario against low leadership factions like the Greenskin. I do recommend everyone try this spell out once in a while because the leadership route from spells and abilities actually counts as normal route, so the routed Stone Trolls here are actually one route closer to the 3-time shattering limit. With their lord dead and all the casualties they taken, the Greenskin army is wobbly at best in terms of leadership even by Greenskin standards. If I keep spamming Doom and Darkness, I should eventually be able to shatter everything on the Greenskin army. Stone Trolls slamming into state troops doing some pretty nice damage, but they're also exposed to the focus fire from the Free Company militia. The elite state troops are still holding down the Stone Trolls while the Free Company militia have returned to gun down every Greenskin in sight. The Stone Trolls are trying to push back the swordsmen and provide a little bit of cover for the Orc Airboys, but the Orc Airboys are not able to safely stand around to fire. These swordsmen might be depleted, but they are still a fully upgraded elite and they will continue to fight on. Now the Stone Trolls over here, their leadership dipped enough to be routed. The other Stone Trolls have returned, but with only 14-11 leadership, the Doom and Darkness is more than enough to put them into routing territory. There goes the final non-routed unit of the Greenskins, and that is the end of their game. GG to my opponent's strat games in this battle. Now let's go for a bit of post-battle analysis. To be honest, I didn't actually outplay my opponent in terms of skills. I mostly just bring a build that my opponent did not expect. You can see that with the Greenskins' heavy focus on all this mobility, they are probably expecting a more missile-focused Empire build. However, the missiles here in this game, the Free Company militia was able to hold their ground against the Greenskin mobility harassment, especially this one Free Company militia here getting back way above his own value. The other ones also did competently, even being charged in melee combat. The swordsmen here, despite all the chevrons, actually didn't earn back their value, being crushed by the Stone Trolls, except this one, who managed to get into the backline and cut down the Orc Airboys. Spears did alright, and the Halberdiers, 2 of them didn't earn back much value, but they survived till the end. To uphold that balance of power, the other one earned back their value and then some more. Empire Knights did great though, using their heavy armor to run down the Greenskin light cavalry and also shut down their backlines. The leadership though, Boris got shut down hard in the beginning here due to my mistake, and then the Amethyst Wizard has to pick up his slack, dropping those Spear Leech to snipe out Azak, and most importantly the Doom and Darkness in the end, routing the Stone Trolls prematurely, allowing me to break the Greenskins army without actually fighting them too much, exploiting the flimsy leadership of these Greenskin monstrous infantry after their lord is dead. Azak though did some really solid damage with the Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech spams, even pushing off Boris from the map, preventing him from coming back with his regeneration, just that he was not able to carry the game as the rest of the army wasn't exactly designed to deal with this kind of man-tide rush. The goblins, while they can hold their own against the state troops if they are supported by Stone Trolls, the parts where they do not have that kind of monstrous support was easily broken apart by the chevroned up swordsmen. The harassment of the light cavalry was not able to do much in this game, being heavily countered by all these melee units on my roster and run down by Empire Knights. On a final note, again, I did not actually win in this game using my skills because Strat Games is a very experienced player and is more active than me in the multiplayer scene for sure. The main reason why I was able to overcome this skill gap was because of my build. The Free Company militia especially, they're a rather cheap unit of missile, but they still can hold their ground against the Green Tide mobility harassment. And then my army just pressed on, using their numbers advantage, the Man Tide overcoming the Green Tide, despite losing Boris early in the game. This is one of the reasons why I like the multiplayer of this game so much. Sometimes even if you are outskilled, outmatched by your opponent, you can still surprise them by coming up with some interesting ideas for your army. Anyways, that's all for today, and I hope you enjoyed this multiplayer battle. If you want to see more Total War Warhammer multiplayer content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.